Hey guys, welcome back to the VRC channel. I'm Armageddon Actual, and this is going to be our second and final part of how to make public events heroic in Destiny 2. Alright, I'm going to also start off by saying if you haven't seen part 1, you should probably go ahead and do that as well. It does have a lot more of the more common main public events featured within the game. This one is going to have some more of the complicated ones, like the Awoken Charge and the one on Mercury with the Vex. So go ahead and give that a watch. Also, feel free to give that a like and a subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can see more content coming by this channel. And let's get on into this video. Now, for those of you that actually did watch part 1 already, you might be wondering where the Ether Servitor event was. That I had to take out of the video because I was having some serious issues. For some reason, the video wasn't actually playing the clip, it was just playing sound. So I just pulled it out of the video completely and refilmed it the other night, and it's going to be featured in this video, so here we go. So for the Ether Servitor public event, this one's actually really easy. Again, as I said in the other video, it always comes down to making sure you're running specific weapons for specific things. High DPS weapons are very good for this one. In order to do this one, you have to damage the main Servitor. Everyone should know this at this point. That's the standard version. You're going to damage him to a point where he becomes immune. Once he's become immune, you're going to notice that he's attached to a small Servitor. All you have to do is eliminate that small Servitor. After a few seconds, he's going to be able to take damage again. You're going to repeat that process. You're going to damage him to about halfway, and then it's going to spawn 3 Servitors around him that are making him immune this time. All you have to do to make this heroic is destroy all 3 of those Servitors, and then you're good. The trick to this is that the Servitors only stay on the ground for, I think, about 15 seconds is what the timing is. So you do have to do them pretty quick. Maybe it's 20 or so seconds. But that's it. You've made the public event heroic, and now all you have to do is kill the Servitor. Keeping in mind, he does have a massive amount of health, and you're going to want good supers and good heavies to destroy him. I obviously completely missed my super there, because usually he teleports you lower than that, like underneath the level of that building. And I just anticipated that and didn't wait. That's what that was. But he's not hard to kill as long as you have, like I said, good supers or good DPS type weapons. And there you have it. After 2 videos, finally, the Ether Servitor public event made heroic.
Servitor down, Ether gone, a whole crew sacrificed. Fallen are having a very bad day.
Alright, moving on into the next public event. This is going to be the Ether Ritual public event. It's found on the Tangled Shore and in the Dreaming City, although the Dreaming City one is much more difficult to do. This one is, again, like most of them, it's pretty simple, but it's actually very difficult to execute, especially if you don't have enough players working together. So you're going to do the public event as normal. You're going to kill these Ether Chieftains, the Scorn Chieftains, and there's going to be one with a different elemental shield around this area at each of the 3 destroyed Servitor-looking things. Once you kill them, your public event heroic mechanic will kick in. You're going to notice that from those destroyed little Servitor things, there's these little fluffy white things, these ether clouds that leave that Servitor. You have to destroy all of those. And the trick is, you have to destroy them before they get to this device here on the right. And that's going to be kind of at the center of the battlefield. And you're now going to have to do that at all 3 of the different objectives. So there's going to be a new chieftain that spawns, then you're immediately going to have to destroy these ether cloud fluffy things. Again, before it actually makes it to the middle and absorbs into the device in the center of the arena. And in classic Bungie fashion, as you've probably learned from the other video, we're going to go and we're going to do number 3, another chieftain. And this one will spawn once again with a different colored elemental shield. And once he's dead, you're going to finish off all of your ether clouds, and when that is completed, your heroic event will proc. Now, keeping in mind, like I've said pretty much at every single time, you do have to make sure these get destroyed before they hit the center device, or it will immediately fail. If one of them gets into that device, it will fail the entire public event on the heroic. So you need to make sure that they're all destroyed. Then, you're going to have the Machinist boss spawn in, and no matter which version of this public event you do, it's going to always be the Machinist, whether it's the one in the Dreaming City or the one here in the Tangled Shore. The heroic will always be the Machinist boss. And the Machinist does have a lot of health, way more health than if you do this on the normal version, and fortunately is one of the bosses that was scaled up based on how powerful we've gotten, which is what I said in the other video. I didn't like how we've become very powerful, and a lot of the public events were too easy now. So this is a perfect example of what you want to see more of is these bosses that get a lot more health in a public event when you make it heroic. Upon killing the machinist, your public event is complete and you can move on into the next one. Alright, next we're going to move into the Cryopod event. This one is actually very frustrating because it is super easy to fail the heroic version. It's unlike what I said with the machinist boss in the last little clip, with how much health that boss had and how I really liked that because it made it more difficult to fight. These ones actually are so easy to kill, you could single-handedly kill them in like 20 or 30 seconds, which is really annoying because in this heroic event, you need the boss alive. And that's frustrating because so many players all the time just go and absolutely melt the boss and completely fail out the heroic, and it's really, really frustrating. Alright, and now that you've seen all of those miserable clips that I ended up having to go through to make this video, let's get into actually explaining this public event. So obviously the first thing that you have to do is eliminate all the enemies that first spawn before the boss does. This will actually allow the boss to spawn, and yes, you can actually fail this out. If that timer hits 0 and you've not killed all of these enemies, it will just fail the event. It's kind of a stupid mechanic, I don't agree with it. Just because sometimes you show up to this public event with like no time on it because someone else ran by. So the first thing you're going to do when the boss spawns is you're going to damage him so he's gone down about 1/4 of his health. When that happens, the ground is going to start doing like electric-y damage over time, and you're going to see that there's a couple vents that start steaming. The vents that are steaming have to be destroyed, and from destroying those vents, you're going to actually be able to collect an arc charge, or a little like relic ball. You're going to grab that and you're going to throw it at the boss's feet. Don't try and hit him directly, because if you miss, it's really frustrating as well. You can throw it right past him, and a lot of the time the bosses like to run really fast or jetpack away as you throw it. It's very inconvenient. Once a third arc charge has been thrown at this boss, it will be made heroic immediately. The boss is going to be made frozen, and you're going to have a circle around him, like in a lot of public events. You're going to stand in and capture that point now to 100%. This one I really enjoy because it actually does put a little bit of challenge in it. There's a lot of enemies that come at you during this time, and it's quite a long time you actually have to hold off. So this is actually an enjoyable public event for the second half. Again, the first half is just very frustrating because people immediately kill these bosses all the time, and actually managing to move fast enough to make it heroic is very difficult. So hopefully this video does exactly what it's designed to do and teaches more people how to make this event heroic, so this will happen less often and you can actually proceed with the heroic version. Again, the benefit to doing a heroic versions is that you do get more XP and better loot, but also if you have, for example, the Bastion quest that tells you to do, I think it's 8 public events on the Tangled Shore, you can actually save a lot of time by doing the heroic versions and only actually having to do 4 because it completes 2 each time. So it's very nice to be able to do that. Saves you quite a bit of time. But yeah, that's the public event, and on with the next one. Alright, this next public event is going to be the Awoken Beachhead. It's on the Dreaming City location. It is a very unique public event. It is one of my favorite ones. Actually, all these really big, kind of more difficult ones are my favorite ones, because they actually make you have to play the game. This one is more of a marathon than a sprint for public events, because it actually makes you have to do a couple different things, and you end up having quite a hefty fight here. So the first thing that you have to do to proc this event, or to get it officially started, is kill this abomination down at the end. He's going to drop an arc charge. Someone is going to grab that and head all the way back up to the top of the hill, to what is known as the center location, and deposit the arc charge into this Awoken relic. It is known as a core. That core integrity is going to be on the left side of your screen. It's going to say 100%. That's basically its health. And you're trying to make sure that the enemies do not get up to it and destroy it, so therefore lowering its integrity. There are triumphs for actually keeping this at a certain amount of health, and even one for keeping it at 100%. That is very difficult to do. You have to have quite a few people that know what they're doing to do it. But if that's not what you're going for, you're just going for a heroic completion, then you just need to make sure you hold it off and that it does not get completely destroyed. There will also be snipers that spawn on the left and right sides every once in a while, so you do have to keep an eye on that. As well, during this fight, there will be more abominations that spawn down in the mist. You may have just seen that warlock jumped up with another arc charge. He deposited that. And every time you put in another arc charge, it will actually heal your core to 100%. So again, if you are going for some of your keep it at high health triumphs, then you're able to put those in more strategically. After a certain amount of time, the enemies are going to shift the side that they're coming from, and roughly around the same time, you're going to hear a couple blights spawn in. They're going to be down at the far end in the mist. There's going to be 2 of them on 2 of the random 3 sides. You'll notice there was one middle, and now I'm shooting the one on the far left side. Those blights have to be destroyed before they sink into the ground in order to be able to make this heroic. Now, the thing is that there's going to be a total of 3 of them, and the 3rd one will spawn on the side that the first 2 didn't, so naturally I'm anticipating the 3rd one to spawn over here on the right side. And that usually happens roughly, I want to say, a minute or so after the first 2 are destroyed. You see it spawn in there, and I'm going to destroy it right away. Once all 3 are destroyed, you no longer have to worry about the enemies coming from the beach, because what's going to happen is it's going to spawn 3 wizards in a ritual formation around your objective. They are going to spawn a blight that will damage your core, so you either want to have an arc charge ready for this part, or you want to have everyone ready on these wizards immediately. It will prompt saying that you've joined a heroic event, but this is technically like a middle phase. It's the only event that has one where it doesn't fully engage the heroic until you've done another mechanic, which is damaging all of the wizards in this area. It will reconfirm that you have joined a heroic event, and you'll notice the blight is going to start coming down over top of this giant taken captain in the middle, and he's going to now engage us. He is the target for this public event, and once he is eliminated in this ascendant plane, then the entire heroic event will be completed, and we will be sent back to the standard area in the Dreaming City. And once we get teleported back, the chest should be sitting waiting for you right at the bottom of the stairs. Alright, last but not least, the final public event in Destiny 2 for our heroic event walkthrough videos. This is the Vex Crossroads on Mercury, and it is actually one of the most enjoyable ones in my opinion, because this one involves you actually running all over the place and doing a whole bunch of different things. As I said in the last one, I like the ones that really get you engaged and actually participating in a big type thing. So for this one, all you have to do for the very beginning is to eliminate a bunch of Vex before they get into the middle and sacrifice themselves, or teleport, or whatever it is that they're doing in the middle. Once you've completed that, I think you only have to kill 10 or so enemies. It's going to spawn a bunch of snipers and a boss-type enemy up on the left and right sides. Both sides are going to be identical, so you can do this on either side, whichever one you decide. It's either going to be a Cyclops, a Hydra, or a giant Minotaur. In this one, we're going to be dealing with the Cyclopses, and you're going to go up and you're going to destroy them. Once you've eliminated one of these mini-bosses, you're going to grab an arc charge and come up into this little pillar on the left and right sides of the boss, and you're going to slam your thing in. It will automatically slam as soon as you jump up top. Then you're going to grab the second one, you're going to slam it on the opposite side, and then you're halfway done. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to jump onto this lift and go to the other side, keeping in mind that in my server there was no other players. In your server there might be other players, so there could be people on the other side doing the same thing, and whichever side is completed first goes over to the other side, and then you all work together on the final side. Both sides, as I was saying before, are identical, so once you're on this side, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to eliminate your Cyclops, and you're going to eliminate your snipers and any other opposition, just to make sure that you don't get yourself killed. Once you've killed your boss and all your snipers and all the other enemies, you can grab your arc charges, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to slam number 3 and slam number 4 into your pillars. Another thing to keep in mind that's very beneficial is if you're holding one of these arc charges and there's a bunch of enemies, you can just beat the crap out of stuff with it with your melee button. It doesn't do as much damage as a normal melee, but it does do pretty hefty damage, so you can utilize that, and that's any most relics in the game that you can hold like that. So next we're going to have this lift spin around, and we're going to jump on top. It's going to shoot us out to one of these pillar islands on the left or right side, depending on which side you did first or last for your public event. You're going to kill another one of these mini-bosses. For this one, I always use my super, because by the time we need a super again for our boss at the end, I have it back. Once you slam, this is where the heroic mechanic kicks in. You're going to notice on the left side here, or the back side, where there's the portal, there's going to be a crystal that spawns floating out over the distance. You want to destroy that, and that will show you a platform that's going to spawn in, and you're going to jump on top of these platforms and move in the direction that they spawned. Then you're going to notice 2 crystals out in the distance in a forward direction, and then another platform is going to spawn in front of you, and you're going to jump on that. At this point, the crystals are going to spawn back towards the pillar, usually 2 on top with 1 kind of underneath the overhang. That's generally the way they spawn, although it's not exactly the same every time. And then you're going to jump up on top of this pillar and head towards a Vex platform that's up here. While you're capturing this plate, I will mention there is going to be a regional chest on top of this tower and the one on the other side of the map that you can only get to while you're doing the heroic version on whichever of the pillars. So for example, you just did it on the right side, which is the one I just did there. You cannot do it on the left in the same public event. You can only get 1 region chest per public event. Now, continuing on with the rest of the public event, same as normal, you're going to jump across all the way to the other side, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do your Cyclops, you're going to slam it, and then you're going to head back towards the middle to fight the giant Gate Lord. During this Gate Lord fight, it's going to be slightly different than when you do it on the normal version. He's going to have a little bit more health, but also he's actually going to have immune phases, which he doesn't have in the normal public event. So he will actually go completely immune, and you can't damage him anymore. And that's because you need to make sure that you go and find another one of whichever mini-boss it is in your version. So in my case, the Cyclops bosses, which you'll see over to my left side, and you're going to go and eliminate them. Once you eliminate your Cyclops, Hydra, or Minotaur, they're going to drop more arc charges. Now you're starting to see the theme here, right? So you're going to grab one of these arc charges. Even though they drop a whole bunch, you only need 1. And only 1 person has to do this. You're going to jump into the lift that will fire you above the boss and into this light that will slam. If it doesn't slam, you can just jump back on the lift and go again. Sometimes it just misses. And then you're going to damage him again until he's immune, and he's going to go into a second immune phase, and you're going to have to do the same thing but on the opposite side. So now Cyclops is going to spawn in on this side, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to kill him, grab your arc charge, slam it, and then you're going to go for your final attack onto your boss. Another thing to remember is a lot of the enemies in this fight are fanatics, and they like to do their little suicide-y blasts, so try and be wary of that. Once you've done your final slam, the boss can be killed, and your heroic public event is complete.
Your performance reminds me of a number of Osiris's minor exploits. Far better than the average Guardian. Perhaps I should write it down.
And there we have it, guys. Every public event in Destiny 2 has now been put into one of these videos between here and part 1. You know how to make them heroic. I really hope this has come in handy for some of you, especially those of you that don't have clanmates and are usually stuck doing solo play. It's obviously a lot more difficult to learn when you don't have people to do things with or to help guide. So again, I really hope this has been handy to you guys, and if not to yourselves, hopefully to someone that you can pass this along to. So remember, guys, any feedback is welcomed in the comments. Please let me know how you felt about this video. Give a like, give a subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can see when I put up more future content. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Armageddon Actual, and this is the Vanguard Raid Command channel. We'll see you next time. So this time I decided I'm going to leave in just some footage of me with my epic fails of trying to get these public events completed. And, well, here they are before I put them in here. I swear to God, if they kill this one... Oh, come on! Again! Oh. Whatever. Next one. Shit, no one. They're the same guys from the last public event? Oh. Oh, come on. What the hell? Does no one know how to do anything today? Jesus.